It's Thursday night or Friday afternoon if you're listening to this. Maybe Friday morning. Maybe it's Saturday. Maybe it's Tuesday. But whatever time it is to you right now when we're recording this, it's Thursday night, 9 p.m. Arizona time, which means it's time for another edition of the Suns Jam Session podcast, shooting the shit about the Suns since 2019. How's that for a tagline, Matthew?
That was good. I like it. 2018 or 19?
19. It was
Okay.
November of 2019, I believe.
Yeah,
when
that's
we
what
had-
it says. Yep, that's still our tagline, right?
That's what we'll roll with, I think.
Let's do it. Unless
I think
something
it
comes
works.
out. Jamsters are good at coming up with stuff too. So throw something out there.
Yeah, if you happen to
You get no money though.
think
Nothing.
that if you think
No
you know
incentives.
a perfect tagline for the Suns Jam Session podcast, a la Fanning the Flames, the OG Phoenix Suns podcast for the fans, that's you guys, by the fans, that's us. I love that tagline. I think it's great what Justin and Paul and Dan have over there, and I envy it so much. We don't have that tagline. So ours is, if you follow us on YouTube or Twitter or X or whatever the fuck, it says shooting the shit since 2000 about the Suns since 2019. Like, that's what we're kind of rolling with. So if you think you've got a good tagline, it's August. There's not much going on. You're sitting around. You're bored. Maybe you're hanging out by the pool. Just think of some good taglines. Then go to Apple Podcasts, give us a 5-star review, and write what you think that tagline would be in there. We'll read it here on the podcast, and maybe we'll put it to a vote one day on the X platform and let the Jamsters decide what our tagline should be. Or not. Maybe this is just we won't do anything at all. And once
Probably the
season
last time we
starts-
talk about it.
Yeah,
Yeah, I don't think we'll talk about it again.
No.
Well, this is what happens right now, right? In August, we talk about our tagline 2 pods in a row.
That's how you know. That's how you know it's
Like, wait, is this
slow.
the same pod as last time? Gotcha.
Ronnie 2K interview coming up halfway through the show. So, but again, welcome to everyone who is taking a little time out of your day to watch or listen to this pod. We truly, truly appreciate it. Make sure you subscribe, rate, and review. Hit that thumbs up button if you're on YouTube. Follow the show at Suns Jam. You can follow me at Darth Voida. You can follow him,
Matthew Lissy.
and by him I mean Matthew, at Matthew Lissy. And yeah, a fun little show tonight. Obviously, today is the day that they've released the NBA schedule. So now we know what the roadmap to a championship looks like for the Phoenix Suns, the exact cadence of what's going to occur. So we're going to talk about that on this podcast. I do want to talk a little bit about DeAndre Ayton, Eric Gordon, and how they played against the Argentinian team last night. And then, of course, we're continuing our series of Start, Bench, and Trade, this time delving into everybody who wore jersey number 30 on this podcast. Matthew, you excited for this one, man?
Oh, I'm totally pumped up. Anytime it's a schedule release, it's my favorite day of the year. So I can't wait to
Yes.
jump on a pod, talk to the Jamsters about games. But there is a tourney now, so it makes it a little bit more interesting for sure. So there's a little bit more of a twist to it. This one won't bore me as much. I'll hang in there. I won't fall asleep, I swear.
Okay, and if you start to fall asleep, I'll just hit you with the tagline and see if you're paying attention. So on that note, Jamsters, pop them if you got them. I'm enjoying a much-deserved ice-cold beer. It's one of those days, one of those long days. Thunder, 3:30 in the morning. My dog, Brooklyn, my German Shepherd, trying to wedge herself between the toilet and the wall because she's scared shitless of the sound of thunder. Yes, Brooklyn, I'm talking about you, you 100-pound pussy. So, beautiful dog, but scared
Beautiful
shitless
pussy.
of thunder. So she always goes nuts when it thunder. So it wakes you up early, and then you're just kind of, half asleep until the alarm goes off at 6, and you get up and do it again. So earned a beer. I'm sure you have too if you listen to this. So let's pop in here. It's schedule release day for the Phoenix Suns, which is actually the exact same day that they did it last year, I believe, because I had a memory pop up on the old Facebook stories and Instagram stories. Tell me that I released the schedule last year, graphic design wise. For those of you who follow me on Twitter, and you know that one of the things I do is when the Suns release their schedule, I put it all together in a nice little graphic because I like to reference it kind of throughout the year. We put up stretches of the season and what's upcoming, and it's just a nice thing to have at my disposal. And it actually happened the same time last year, Matthew.
Yeah, no, it makes sense, right?
Yeah. Cool.
I'm just like, schedule release would be at the same day, I feel like, every year. I don't know why they would kind of hide it, or you would think, though, with the tourney, they maybe push it back a little bit more to figure that out, but they didn't have to do it. Here we are, same time this year, hanging out.
Yeah, talking about games. Talking about games and thunder. And so says Jay's hanging out in the chat. He says, how does the tortoise handle thunder? Tortoise is a reptile. Tortoise don't give a fuck. Franklin gives zero fucks about the thunder. Franklin's just like, oh, sweet, it's starting to rain.
Yeah, it gets hit all the time, too, by it. Doesn't phase it.
Yeah, just boom, hit by the thunder. The sound waves of thunder. But before we get into the schedule release...
Watch.
DeAndre Ayton in the game against the Argentinian basketball team, a team that's FIBA ranked number 4 in the world. If you take a look at the Americas and the way that the FIBA pre-qualifying tournament was mapped out, the Bahamas were one of those middle-of-the-road teams, right? They're ranked 56th overall in the world by FIBA. That being said, that's based off a ranking that did include their 3 NBA players in DeAndre Ayton, Eric Gordon, and Buddy Hield. They're going against an Argentinian team yesterday that has Fuck You Campazzo on it and about like 5 other guys who have at least sniffed the NBA in some way, shape, or form for the Argentinian team. And Argentina came out. They were in fuego, just, raining down lightning upon the opponent, not missing anything. But slow and steady wins the race. And ultimately, the Bahamas surprised Argentina by winning 101-89. And a big part of that was the 33 minutes, the 22 points, the 15 rebounds, the 3 blocks, and 2 steals by one DeAndre Ayton, Matthew.
Yeah, it was great. I actually read the game review after, and the best part of it was really DA just getting into it with the teammates, I guess, just telling them to keep going, keep up the effort, all that stuff on the sideline. I didn't get to watch the game. You watched it, obviously, right? Did you get to watch it?
I watched half of it.
I didn't get to watch it, but I did hear about that part, which is nice to hear. But then the next couple plays, he turned the ball over, and then he did foul again the next play. And but he hit a big shot to extend the lead late in the game. But that part of him actually like calling out teammates to continue to push the pace and continue to, just go at it, no matter what is going on really with the other team. Like, just make sure that they stay focused. It kind of reminded me of Booker in a way a couple of years ago, where Booker used to actually be the guy that would get on his teammates and then miss the shot and then make a turnover, foul, do some bullshit play, and then yell at his teammates, right? Ayton kind of right now kind of reminds me of that a little bit, with just kind of, if he's going to do that with his Suns, that's fine. But right now with his Bohemian teammates, that's a great thing to do, because he can be the leader of that team, right? It was which player was talking about playing with DA and how fantastic it was, and how he just opens up so much for the offense with that team. I forget who it was. Buddy Hield.
I don't know.
Buddy Hield did say that. So you can tell these players are kind of looking up to him in a way. Now it's like, okay, he can talk some shit to his teammates. They kind of, I feel like, respect him now. But then he does turn it over. So it's kind of like he's kind of progressing in a good way. It didn't look too good with the turnover and then the foul, but being more vocal, that's good for D. I don't care who's on this team this year. Kevin Durant's quiet. Booker he's a leader. He can be a leader, but he's going to be quiet, right? He's not as vocal on the court anymore. And then we don't know what Beal's going to be like, but Ayton can be that guy if he stays consistent with it. If he actually makes sense, if his IQ is higher this year, basketball-wise, then you know what? They'll respect him. He can kind of ease himself into that role to where he can just, actually lead on both sides of the court vocally and not just by showing it in game. And that might be a couple years away, but this is kind of a start. Maybe I'm reading too much into it, because he did this last year a few times, but it was kind of like he would kick a chair because he didn't get the ball or something. But
this
is
different. Yeah,
this is different. I like that from him.
Yeah, I agree that, again, his ability to be vocal with his fellow national countrymen and demands their respect is one of the most important things that we can take away from this little FIBA run. Again, like you said, with Booker, you can be the alpha and go out there and miss shots. That's okay. There's nothing worse than somebody who sits there and doesn't say anything and is tentative and is afraid, and then they miss shots and they turn the ball over because it can be perceived a lot differently, right? Like you're a guy who's afraid of the moment, and therefore because of your nervousness, you turn the ball over, you passed out of a situation. Whereas if he's out there and he's yelling at his teammates, like, dude, he said it in the fourth quarter, like, we're tired as fuck right now. Like he was yelling at his team, but he's like, but we got to keep going. And those are the kind of things, that's a skill set that translates. And I don't know if everything's a blur these days because I'm getting up at 3:30 in the morning because my dog's going crazy the last 2 nights. I don't know if I mentioned this on the pod, but I wrote a piece about it for brightsideofthesun.com. So if you have an opportunity to pop over to brightsideofthesun.com, please do so. Always some good writing there by myself. Well, decent writing by me. Great writing by Matthew, as well as the rest of the writing staff, which includes So Says Jay, who's hanging out in the chat, and Aussie Suns Fan Podcast, and all those guys. I got all my friends are writing for the fucking site now. Dave's like, I'm gone. I'm like, sweet. I'm gonna have everybody I know fucking write an article. Just one. If I know 365 people, and I'll ask them to write one piece, I've got every day of the year covered. It's my strategy. But what I talked about in a piece is FIBA is an opportunity for DeAndre Ayton to gain confidence, to walk onto the court and know that he's the best guy on the court. When he walks on the court with the Suns, he knows he's not the best guy on the court. He knows Devin Booker's better. He knows Kevin Durant's better. He knows Bradley Beal potentially is a better player. He's a more decorated player with 3 All-Stars. So there's a different mentality when that occurs. Whereas right now he's going out there and he's being the pure alpha. And he's acting like, and is he making mistakes? Sure. That's okay. Yeah. But have that confidence, build that confidence. Will it translate back to playing with the Suns? It might or it might not. But we've always talked about in the past how important international play is for the development of young players. Think back to Devin Booker playing on the Olympic team, right? Him playing on the Olympic team elevated him. Kevin Durant, when he was much younger, it elevated him. Even though this isn't the Olympics, this is a tournament that can determine whether or not you play in the Olympics next year in Paris. But the Bahamas team and the national pride that he has and the ability to be that alpha is going to be something that is going to benefit him in some way. And he's going to bring it back to the Suns. And what he's learned and the relationship that he's developing with Eric Gordon and the confidence that he's gaining is something that is transferable. Now, it remains to be seen if it is actually going to transfer. But this is the path that we want to see. This is what gets Suns fans excited. This is, as we're all trying to figure out how to watch these games and hanging out on Twitter, trying to see the clips and the highlights, because it appears that Dwayne Rankin is in Argentina and he's at the arenas for these games, which is fantastic. It's a fun time to see the development of DeAndre Ayton outside of the Suns bubble.
Yeah, and that's huge. Coming into the season, that's why I said he has to stay consistent, because I was worried coming into the season where, he had those comments about the fans and how the whole world's against him, right? That's scary because I don't want him to come out and be like, you know what, fuck this team, fuck the fans. Like, I just don't want to hear it. He can have that attitude, and that would not help this team at all in any way. So he needs to actually just continue to learn, because, even last year when KD came, you saw him sit next to DA almost every game, talk to him and stuff. So it's like,
yes,
okay, KD, what can you do to help DA? And it didn't really help him as much, but it's just like, I just hope that they continue to do that. And then DA can respect these players, but also know like he can step up and be vocal, because that's huge. I just think like when you say like Booker is better than him, I know Booker is fucking phenomenal, right?
Mm-hmm.
DA just has the opportunity to really we talked about it last time, to be the actual game changer, to be the guy that wins us a championship.
Agreed.
I cannot
the ultimate
get out of
X
my head.
factor.
It's there. It is just fucking deep down some shit that he has. It's in there, and he just has to get that, dude. And
that's why changing the narrative. And that's what he's starting to do.
But he has to. And once he comes into the season, like, just don't let up, DA. Don't fucking let up. Just make sure, because he can be the best guy on the court in most games this year. I believe that he could be eventually.
given his skill set and given what he's going to have to provide this team, you're right. Now, I know that a lot of people will sit and they'll listen to this and be like, well, there's no way he's going to be better than Booker. There's no way he's going to be better than Kevin Durant. And I don't think that's what you're saying. I think that you're saying in his role, he can be the best player on the team in his role because of his ability to go rebound, because of his ability to be effective on the defensive side, and because of his physical ability around the rim. If he taps into all three phases of the game, he can be the most influential player. Maybe that's the best way to put it. The most influential player on this team. And again, the ultimate X factor. And you know that question is going to come up as we get near to the season and we start to do our predictions and whatnot. How many games are we going to win? And who's the ultimate X factor and all that bullshit that we're going to do eventually. That's what's going to happen. DA is the ultimate X factor. You expect great things from Booker, from Beal, from Durant. We want great things from DeAndre Ayton. If we get him, we have the ultimate fourth guy on the team, right? We have the ultimate fourth guy.
Yeah, what I'm really saying is by the end of the season, he has the opportunity to be the second best player on this team. I believe that by maybe the second year, in 2 years, he can be, if he's still with this team. He can. That's in there. I'm not saying it's going to happen. I'm just saying it's a possibility.
The potential's there. He's a former number one overall pick, right?
Consistent. Yeah, he's the ultimate like nip slip, dude. It's just like, oh fuck, okay, well it's damn, and then you know what I mean. It's just like, damn it, there it is.
Wouldn't that be amazing?
It's not the whole thing yet. Huh?
If this season is a season where DA just takes the league by fucking storm, and he just goes out and wouldn't that be just? Beal and Booker and Durant are like, yeah, man, like we can be a role player to this unbelievable force inside because, again, he has the physical tools.
Yeah.
And we're hoping what's occurring in FIBA as that confidence develops is maturity. Is a maturity in a what is he, 25 now? In a 25-year-old player who things are starting to make sense for him. And he's had unbelievable resources throughout his entire career in Ricky Rubio in his second or third year, Chris Paul for 3 seasons, Devin Booker the entire time, a few games with Kevin Durant, but again, somebody who he's going to continue to work alongside, throughout this upcoming season. There's just so many fantastic abilities that he possesses. And it's kind of like playing a video game, right? Like you're just trying to unlock those abilities and it takes time and maturity, just like it did with Devin Booker. Big Dick Booker wasn't always Big Dick Booker. Big Dick Booker used to bitch, used to complain, used to yell at his teammates if they were out of position and he'd throw the ball in the wrong place, used to miss the big shots. I mean, like clockwork, he'd miss big shots. But his maturity has happened over the last 3 seasons, and he's morphed himself into a consistent all-star because of his time, dedication, and maturity relative to the game of basketball. We're all hopeful that this occurs. This is a very positive performance that he's put out, and by he, I mean DeAndre Ayton, a very positive performance that he's been putting out in the first 2 games in the pre-qualifying tournament, and all we can do is hope that this is going to continue for him as they try to make the Olympics. Obviously, their next game was supposed to be tonight. They were supposed to play Panama, but Panama bitched out, and they're out of the Americas tournament. So I believe the Bahamas, I think they're going to the semifinals. I'm almost 100% sure they're going to the semifinals. So I'm not even sure what time that game is. But again, just exciting times and way too long on DeAndre Ayton on this podcast.
That's why he's awesome, dude. We spent 20 minutes. I can go 20 more minutes.
I probably could too.
And it wouldn't even be the same stuff. It'd just be new thought. All these thoughts, they just keep coming on him.
Well, yeah, because again, it's exciting. It's exciting to have your number 1 overall pick come out, play internationally. And again, the difference between this game and the Cuban game is Cuba was a bunch of scrubs. And although it was impressive to see him perform that way, you had to call it for what it is. This one has pro players. And this one was a game where they were down and they had to fight back. And at first he was tentative and he was out of position and he wasn't really playing well. But then he gathered himself and he adjusted. And that's what was important, because what do champions do? Champions adjust, baby. All right. Well, I think it's time to talk about the schedule release, if you're okay with that, Matthew.
Let's do it.
All right. So the schedule release, there's a little graphic up there on the screen for you. If you're listening, just imagine an amazing graphic with a lot of Suns purple and orange. And it says Phoenix Suns 2023 schedule across the top. And it breaks down all 80 games of the Phoenix Suns schedule, knowing that 2 games are not present because of the in-season tournament. If the Suns were to not last in the in-season tournament and just play their 4 games and not qualify outside of group play getting into the elimination round, the NBA, after the conclusion of the in-season tournament, will schedule 2 more games for the Suns. If they do get into the elimination round, boom, that's 1 game. And then if they get to the finals, boom, that's the 2nd game. That's how that works. But that being said, the first question I'll ask you about this schedule release, which it's intense. It takes a lot of looking over. I'll start by, before I ask you a question, I'll throw out some statistics on it. There's 14 backs-to-backs for the Suns. The longest homestand is 6 games between December 29th and January 7th. Their longest road trip is 7 games from January 24th to February 4th. The home opener is October 8th against the Jazz after they play their first 2 games on the road, doing so against the Golden State Warriors and the Los Angeles Lakers. Mikal Bridges and Cam Johnson return to Phoenix in December on the 13th with the Brooklyn Nets. Monty Williams returns to Phoenix on October 8th. And, of course, Landry Shamet returns to Phoenix on December 17th, Matthew.
Oh, yeah, I have to call out for that day. Oh, wait, never mind. It's actually a Sunday, so perfect.
There you go. So I'll ask you this. The first question off the bat. Whenever you look at the schedule when it's first released, what's the first thing you kind of look for?
Honestly,
Yeah.
nothing. I don't.
Wow.
Yeah. Well, before this podcast, I used to like it when it was released, be like, oh, okay, I would start the first game, second game. Like, okay, I get kind of sick of it because it doesn't mean anything.
Yeah.
I've liked it.
Wow, that only took like your 4th sentence before you said it didn't mean anything.
I like it for the fact that we get your graphics, but before I liked just the magnets. So that was the reason I like the schedule. Like, oh, how can I get this on my fridge? I used to print it out and all that shit. But when I was younger, of course, I used to go through and mark win, loss, but it was a lot of losses when I was younger. I used to do that, but I never really looked at the schedule, be like, hey, I'm excited about this game, this day, this back-to-back. What's going to happen here? I don't look at it that way. I just never have.
Well, I'm different. Yeah. The first thing, in all honesty, the first thing that I look, now granted, like when the schedule comes out, again, I make this graphic that a lot of people just saw on the screen that we'll reference multiple times throughout the season. But, obviously the first thing is like, all right, I got to get in the lab, right? Like I have to start making this thing so I can put it out for everybody. And I did it at work today. And I'd like to thank my team for just leaving me the hell alone for a while. I was just in my office for a long time. And they're like, what are you doing? I'm like, nothing, leave me alone. They come in like, John, we have an issue. I'm like, figure it out. You're grown people. I'm in here graphically designing. It's really annoying. It's very, very tedious work. But honestly, the first thing that I look at is how is this going to affect my life, Matthew? Because good, bad, or indifferent, you have to think about it from our standpoint. And our standpoint is we go live after every single one of these games, right? So the first thing I'm doing is I'm taking a look and being like, oh, okay, am I going live this day? Am I going live this day? Am I going live this day? And like when I see that the Suns have a back-to-back and one of them is on Valentine's Day, I'm like, shit, this is like the 3rd Valentine's Day in a row where it's like, oh, fuck, I got to neglect my wife again. Like, it's kind of crap. It's we play on December 31st and January 1st. Obviously, Christmas we thought was going to be earlier. Christmas is actually an 8:30 game against the Dallas Mavericks, so it's a late Christmas. So
we'll get a nap in.
Yeah, we'll have to take a nap.
It's not bad.
Yeah, not bad. We play on St. Patty's Day this year, so again, that could be a fun one because we might be a little toasted, but again, that's essentially
the worst one's Halloween night.
Yeah, we play on Halloween night.
That's fucked up.
That's trick-or-treat night, right?
That's trick-or-treat night. I have to watch it on my phone.
Yeah, and then like we have to figure out a way to go live, and we'll probably be in costumes, and we'll probably be on the streets of Chandler or something.
That's an away game. It's home game, so maybe you might be at that one. Who knows what's going to be going on?
No, trick-or-treat with the fam, man.
Yeah, it's going to be tough.
So that's the first thing that I look at. Selfishly, that is the first thing that I look at is how does it affect me personally as a podcaster who goes live after every single Suns game. That's just the thick of it, if you will. The next question I have for you is just let's talk about the first 10 games, right? Like I don't want to sit here and be like, all right, Matthew, look at that entire schedule. Tell me what our final record is. Let's just pull up the Phoenix Suns first 10, right? So again, we open on opening night, the 24th of October, 1 week after my birthday, on the road at Golden State. And then we play at the Lakers. We come home for a 3-game homestand that opens up with our home opener on October 28th against the Utah Jazz. Then we play on Halloween, as we mentioned, against the fucking Spurs. The Spurs never. There it is, man. Every year we play the Spurs on a funny day, don't we? Remember we went to or I went to Laughlin one year and they were playing. Yeah. We went to Vegas that one year. They were playing there. Like every time that we play the Spurs, we're in a weird location.
Yeah.
Something's going on.
Something's always
this
going
year.
on.
Fuck bullshit. Spurs. Amen. We play them again on Thursday, November 2nd. Then we go on a 3-game road trip. So that's at the 76ers, at Detroit, and at Chicago. And then we come home for our first tournament game against the Lakers, and then we play the Oklahoma City Thunder. So that's our first 10. Again, Warriors, Lakers, Jazz, Spurs, Sixers, Pistons, Bulls, Lakers, Thunder. What do you think of just that first 10 games? Because that's going to be a very interesting 10 games for the Suns as they institute a new head coach, a new defensive system, like 14 new players, it feels like, and, of course, Bradley Beal into the fold.
Well, predictions, like I can see that they might go 6-4 or something like that, but it's hard to tell because you have to wait for this team to really kind of gel. That's a tough part to overlook. I think really right now when you're looking at the Spurs schedule, oh my God, they're going to split those. The Spurs will win one, the Suns will lose the other one. Or the Suns will lose one, they'll win the other one.
Yeah, it's like, so that's 2 losses?
Yeah, exactly. With the Lakers tourney game, that's kind of exciting because it's like, okay, first 10 games, but then also the 9th game is against the Lakers for the tourney. That's kind of exciting because at the beginning of the year, no one really gives a shit. And all of a sudden, you're like, oh, the tournament game's coming up, but you already played the Lakers. So you kind of get a stab at them right away. They're going to split those 2 games too. And just it's kind of easier throughout though with the Pistons and the OKC Thunder, but I can see 6-4. I don't think it's going to be anything crazy off the bat for the Suns. I was even going to say 5-5, but I just think it's going to take some time, and I think we can be patient, right? I mean, if they start out 4-6, I'm still going to be patient, but I'm definitely going to go 6-4 on this one.
If they start out 4-6, like ESPN is going to be having a field day with them. That's for damn sure. I see us winning the opener in Golden State. I see us winning on the road against the Lakers because I think that the Suns are easily better than both those teams. I honestly do. I think that Golden State's a little past their prime, and I think that the Lakers are highly overrated. Again, the fact that Austin Reeves is your 3rd best player, although he might be a good player on the up and coming, I just don't know if he's necessarily that talented, and that's your number 3. The Jazz at home, I see that as a win. You're right with the Spurs. The Spurs, we get Victor Wembanyama twice. Once on October 31st, then 2 nights later, we play on TNT, both games on TNT, mind you, against them on November 2nd. I could see us splitting that one because that's the way basketball works. We should win those. That should be a nice little homestand to start the season where we go 3-0 in that homestand. We go on the road to Philly. I see that as an L. So right there, I'm at 4-2. The Pistons is a win. The Bulls are a win. I think the Lakers are a win. And I think OKC's a win. I think we start 8-2. I honestly do. I think that I'm different, at least right now here in August, thinking that this team's going to come out and they're going to start throwing some haymakers. And I think that due to the sheer talent of this Suns team, they're going to have the ability to overwhelm teams, and it's going to be a fun journey right off the bat. That's my prediction.
Yeah, I hope so. It could definitely go that way. That's all. We're all rooting for that for sure. If they start out slow though, I think it's okay. I mean, when we're talking about DA for 20 minutes and we're talking about him as our 4th or 5th best guy, he's the 4th best guy, then you're like, yeah, they should be 10-0 to start the season, but it's just going to take some time, I think. I really think so. I mean, the Kevin Durant thing, when he came in last year, it took some time for sure. He got hurt, and then we won some games that looked pretty dominant when they actually tried, and then they had a shot in the playoffs still with CP3 going down. Like that team was kind of rolling a little bit, so maybe I'm being too pessimistic there.
Yeah, it's okay. You're a Suns fan. That's who and what we are, isn't it?
Exactly.
All right, 3 games that you're excited for, Matthew. Give me 3 games that you're like, yes.
3 games. You know what? I'm actually really excited about the Brooklyn Nets games. I really am.
So the first time we play them again is on December 13th at home. And then the second time that we play the Nets is later in the season. It's actually January 31st. It is the 5th game of that 7-game road trip that we have in late January, early February.
I'm just excited to see the Twins. It's going to be very heartbreaking still. Even if the Suns are 20-0 or, they start out 10-0 and then we're going to play the Brooklyn Nets eventually. Then I'm going to be like, oh, like I just want Mikal back still now and Cameron Johnson. But I really think that the opportunity the Suns have to really start out strong and then go into Brooklyn or play play Mikal, play Cameron Johnson. It's going to be really emotional, I feel like, because of the tribute stuff. So that's one game where I'm going to definitely circle. The price. Ticket price is going to be insane, of course. So I don't know, but that would be such a good game to go to because I would love to see those guys in action live against the Suns. Heartbreaking a little bit. The third game, though, I'm going to say just the Wembanyama, man. I'm excited. If he's going to play, I know they're going to sit him a lot this year. That's what I heard. So if he's playing and the Suns have 2 games right off the bat in the first 5 games, there's a good chance he's going to be playing. And one of those, whichever one he plays, I'm going to be very interested to see how I don't even know where Wembanyama's going to be playing on the court, but just how that's even going to look. So that's something to definitely look forward to.
Yeah, so that's actually one of my 3 groups, if you will, of games that I'm excited to see is the fact that we play the Spurs 4 times this season, right? The first 2 we mentioned, October 31st and the 2nd, both at home. And then the second time we play them isn't until March. It's March 23rd and 25th, a back-to-back, if you will, with a day between, both on the road in San Antonio. So we get it's going to be kind of weird when it comes to Victor Wembanyama because we're going to get doses of him at the beginning of the season, and then we're going to see him at the end of the season on back-to-back games. So I think that's going to be kind of fun. It's just as a basketball fan. This is the number 1 overall pick. He's one of the most highly touted prospects since LeBron James, and we're literally going to see him in his 5th game and his 6th game when he's got the deer and headlights look. He's like Bambi on the court, falling all over the place. And then we're going to see him at the back stretch of the season and it'll be interesting to see how he's matured as a player. I'm looking forward to any and every time that we play the Kings. I just want to see what the Kings look like this year. It's a team that we don't play until December 22nd. So we go, that's 16, 20. It's about 25 games into the season is the first time that we're going to see the Kings. And that's something that, again, it's a team that intrigues me. I want to see if it's replicable. Obviously there's the Lakers games and there's the Clippers and there's, our Pacific Division rivals. But the Pacific Division rival I'm most interested in this year is the Kings. I want to see if they can back it up. And I want to see how, the Sun Kings, we walked through the valley of the shadow of death together with this franchise for so many years. So I always just and I like to see the new uniforms. I'm not going to lie. They have a new script uniform. The Kings always kill at the uniforms.
They're so good.
They are. They never miss on those.
They are so good.
There's the Nuggets games, which are exciting. I'm not counting down to those, if you will. I am excited for those Pistons games. Again, we play the Pistons early in the season on the road on November 5th. And then, as I mentioned before, the Pistons come to town as a part of a home stretch, a 6-game home stretch that the Suns have. Oh, wait, they're not in that time. When do they come again? Where's the Pistons? Where's that? February. Oh, we play the fucking Pistons on Valentine's Day. There you go. There's my treat, honey. Sorry, I can't watch. We're playing the shitty Pistons.
And they don't play for another 2 weeks after or something crazy.
Well, the All-Star break. That's what that's called.
Yeah.
So I'm excited for those games. What is there any stretch that just sucks to you?
I think the stretch is going to suck when I'm looking at February 29th through the March 3rd. They play 3 sucky teams in a row, the Rockets twice and then the OKC, but in between that, they're in between the Lakers and the Nuggets. So I feel like it's going to be a stretch where it's going to be they beat the Lakers. And then, they have 3 games against sucky teams and they kind of have a letdown, go 1-2 right there. And then they bounce back and have a good game against the Nuggets. It's just, I can already see the way the podcast is going to go. Or we jump on after the Lakers, so what do you predict? Oh, the Suns are going to win the next 3. They're going to win the next 2 against the Rockets at least, but then they'll lose one of those. They might rest some players. That's going to be a stretch where it's that's going to be a bummer. I can see that happening. For sure.
I'm with you. It's funny. So the stretch that I'm not looking forward to is kind of right after that. And it's March 11th. We start on the road. We play, it's March 9th. We are at home against the Celtics. Then we go on the road and we play Cleveland, and then we play the Celtics again. So the second time in 3 games. We pop down to Charlotte on the road. Then we go up to Milwaukee. We come home, and then we play the 76ers and then the Hawks. That little stretch right there is from March 9th to March 21st. March 9th to March 21st is a really important time in the season, right? It's just after the All-Star break. It's where teams are making a lot of moves, but it's also a lot of times when teams are injured. The dog days have come and gone. You're in the home stretch. You're trying to get guys healthy, and it's just some tough competition, in my opinion. The Celtics are a good team. You're playing them 2 out of 3 games. Cleveland's a good team. You have a shitty Charlotte team, but then, boom, you play Milwaukee. Boom, you play the 76ers. And even though Atlanta might potentially suck, they're still a team that you have to be ready for. And I think that stretch in March is going to be very important. And again, if the Suns, based on how they perform up to that point, that's going to be a very important stretch. And I just hope it's not a sucky one, but it might be a sucky one, Matthew.
Yeah.
Anything else on the
No.
schedule?
The only question I had for you were the Nuggets games. I know you're looking forward to them, but do you think the Nuggets will like take their foot off the pedal a little bit this year? Or will they actually, try to go for the number 1 seed again?
They took their foot off the pedal last year, right? I mean,
well, towards the end of the year, right?
Yeah, the last month though, because again, the Nuggets did what the Suns couldn't do 2 years ago. The Nuggets were the best team in the NBA in the regular season, and they could take their foot off the pedal because the Western Conference last year was just fucking wacky. I mean, the Nuggets were the top seed in the entire Western Conference last year, and they ended up winning, how many games? What was it, like 54? They were 53-29. That was the number 1 seed. Like normally the number 1 seed is like a 58-win team, a 60-win team. Like when the Suns 2 years prior, a 64-win team. So they took the foot off the pedal. I think that they're a team that knows their talent. They have a cohesiveness to them. And when they play the Suns, they're going to get up for it because people like Nikola Jokic and Jamal Murray want to test themselves against a quality team. If you look at the best matchups in the NBA this year, a lot of them involve the Suns. The Suns are a team that, again, when you look at the totality of the schedule, they're going to end up being on national television 37 times. It's like 45% of their games. They got 14 ESPN/ABC games. They got 11 games on NBA TV. They got 11 games on TNT. They're the third most televised team on the national media circuit behind the Warriors and the Lakers. Now, the Warriors and the Lakers, the Suns are clearly a better team than, in my opinion. Again, on paper, we haven't seen anything yet, so we don't know the strengths and weaknesses of this team. We can only imagine because there's no chemistry that exists like Denver has. So Denver is going to beat the shit out of these other teams on chemistry alone, just like the Suns did 2 years ago. But they're going to test their grit against the Suns. I truly believe that.
Okay. Yeah. No, I can see that against the Suns for sure. I was just thinking as a whole, though, last season or this season with the Nuggets just kind of let off a little bit, knowing what they have, where now maybe they're like kind of the Lakers of the past 3 years. Like, let's just make the playoffs. That the Lakers, they won the championship 4 years ago, but even since then, they've been so injured, it didn't really matter. But with the Nuggets, it's like I can kind of see them going that route where they just kind of like, oh, we know what we are. And even if we play the Suns, we beat them, but this is a different Suns team, like you said. So those games still have to be looked forward to. I'm 100% definitely looking for those. Yeah.
We play them 4 times. We play them at home on December 1st. We play them again. Where's their logo? We play them on March 5th in Denver. We play them on March 27th in Denver. So we only play them 3 times currently, 2 times on the road. Now, that being said, if the Suns leave the in-season tournament a little early, that might be a team that we end up having to play a 4th time, and it would be at home. The difference between this year and last year, if you remember, last year we played the Nuggets, I want to say twice in the last 10 games. And they had completely left their foot off the pedal because and we played them on Christmas and they beat us. And then, they left their foot off the pedal. I don't even know if we beat them last year in the regular season. I think it was like 1-2 or something. But I think that Friday, December 1st at home is going to be a big one because that's going to be the one where they're still in the process of establishing where they're at in the Western Conference. To your point, if we're midway through the season and they're looking at it, they're like, yeah, we're the number 2 seed. So when we play the Suns, we don't have to throw the whole thing at them because we know we can maintain the number 2 seed or even jump to the number 1 seed because we're going to play the fucking Trailblazers and we're going to play the Spurs and we're going to play, these other teams in our division and in our conference that's going to allow us to jump up to number 1. I see what you're saying, and I think that you're right.
Yeah. No, a lot to look forward to this year. I think the tournament really definitely helps a lot. Even if you don't care about the cup, it just makes it more interesting. I think that's the whole design of it. It's not really this, hey, we have a cup. It means something. It's just kind of just distract us a little bit more. Just have
100%.
Gain our attention to really, focus away from football a little bit more. But
that's
not going to happen for sure for a lot of people. But it's going to bring a lot of people around the TV, at least for those 6 or 8 games.
You cannot distract us from football, NBA. You can try, but it won't happen. Did I tell you about canceling DirecTV? That was fun.
No, they tried to pull you back.
I give them a call because obviously I have DirecTV because I love the NFL Sunday Ticket and I love the Red Zone. Matthew and my wife, they're both Cowboys fans, so you like to watch out of market games and whatnot. And so I call up DirecTV and hey, I'd like to cancel. You no longer carry the NFL package, and that's the only reason why I have DirecTV. Thank you, Mr. Voida. You know, we really appreciate your loyalty. Let's see what we can do here. I'm like, well, there's nothing you can do. You don't have the NFL Sunday ticket anymore. Well, we're going to have just the red zone on DirecTV. I'm like, cool. I'm switching to YouTube TV. So nothing you can do for me. Well, we can discount it. We can give you a sports package. Yeah, does that have the red zone? No, that doesn't. Then I don't want it. Okay. No, I appreciate that, and I appreciate your loyalty. Can I interest you maybe in taking off $50 a month off your bill to help you pay for YouTube TV? No, I don't want it anymore. I just don't want to deal with it. You know. Oh, okay. Well, I appreciate your loyalty. Well, it sounds like like 10
Sounds like
minutes
South
this goes
Park
on.
episode.
10
Or
minutes this shit
something.
went on. And so while this is happening, I'm sitting right here. I tweet about it. I'm just like, yep, here I go. I keep telling them no, and it's black and white. And they're trying to gray me here. Like, well, we can maybe make it happen if we hold hands and walk through this journey together. As you will end up on the other side, and you'll end up in DirecTV land, and you'll have a bunch of channels you'll never watch, and except for football season. And the fact that the Phoenix Suns are going to be on local TV is what fortifies this decision.
Oh yeah.
Because I can watch them on 3TV for half the season. So I'll buy the antenna. I'll put it up on my house. I'll just tap it right into my cable system. Put a little coax to HDMI converter in where my DirecTV box is now.
What is that? What you need to do? I thought it was just like an antenna that hooks up to your TV, right?
You
For
can,
channel
but that's
3?
tacky. I'm gonna make it look nice. I'm gonna do it right.
On top of the house.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. You take the coax cable that's currently going into the DirecTV dish.
Mhm.
You just take that out of there and you put it into a nice looking antenna. It costs $20. You mount it outside, and then it feeds right into your house just like through a coax cable, and then you just get a little converter for like $15. Coax into the converter HDMI, and you hook into the HDMI that was previously utilized by DirecTV. I've been researching.
What is it? The Obama box that we have to have? The Obama thing that he gave out to everybody? Is that what we need? Or
Obamacare?
No, wasn't there like an Obama Cox Communications thing that came out?
There was something. I remember I got it from my dad, just so he could get like basic cable once upon a time.
Yes,
but
exactly.
There's like a better way to do it,
so
it's consistent. But once I knew that, I was like, sweet. I can watch half the games on 3TV, so I don't have. And that being said, 3TV comes with YouTube TV. So you can watch the games on YouTube TV.
Well, I'm gonna have your login because I'm paying half.
That's right. I appreciate
it.
Yeah,
this should be easy.
You're paying half. Paul's paying half. Yeah, buddy.
Paul's paying. Are we all gonna be able to share the login?
Yeah, you get like 4 logins. So like,
we'll find out.
Ashley can. No, trust me. I've researched this shit.
Okay.
I've researched it. So 4 people can be watching YouTube TV simultaneously. So, anyways, I tweet that out as it's going, and then somebody pops online, or tweets back at me, "Hi, this is Gloria from DirecTV. We'd love to retain you as a customer. We'll DM you." It's like, see what I'm saying? They just don't stop.
Yeah, now I'm just worried. I'm like, okay, so Shan's watching Ashley, you, me, and then Paul at the same time. Do I have to text somebody, be like, hey, can you get off for the Suns game?
Probably not.
Should I have a backup? Okay.
No, yeah. Because how often are we all going to be watching TV at the same time?
I don't know. It's going to happen.
They watch Hulu.
Okay, yeah. No, you're right.
Yeah, they watch Hulu and Netflix, and Brooklyn try to shove herself down the toilet when the fucking thunder goes off. Get out of the toilet, Brooklyn. She was climbing into my soul last night. I'm like, Jesus Christ. Shit, Starbits trade jersey number 30.
You ready?
All right. Do you want to take the first one, or should I take the first one?
I'll do the first one. It looks like it's the smaller sections.
Perfect.
The gray ones.
Well, that being said, right off the bat, Jamsters, again, if you don't know how this goes, we're going over everybody who wore jersey number 30 in the history of the Suns. There's a total of 10 of them. Of those 10, 6 apply for start bench trade. To be eligible for start bench trade, you have to at least played 50 games with the Phoenix Suns. The first person to ever wear jersey number 30 for the Phoenix Suns was Matthew.
Oh, sorry, man. It's Chocolate Thunder. Chocolate Thunder was a 6'7" small forward. He was actually, his real name was Fred Saunders from Syracuse. He played 86 games. He was drafted 31st overall in 1974, was a draft pick to be named later in the 1973 deal that sent Connie Hawkins to the Lakers. So there's some good research done by John right there. I like that one. Waived by Phoenix in February of 1976. He is the original number 30 owner. Fred Saunders. Are you muted?
The moment after he left, Ron Lee came in from 1977 to 1979, wore jersey number 30. A point guard from Oregon, drafted 10th overall by the Suns in 1976. He's the all-time leading scorer for the University of Oregon. He was actually drafted by the San Diego Chargers, who was an all-rookie team selection. He led the league in steals in 1977 and 1978, and then he was traded to the Pistons as a part of a big deal in 1979 for Truck Robinson. Played a total of 207 games in jersey number 30 for the Suns, averaged 10.9 points, 2.7 rebounds, and 3.8 assists. Matthew.
Next guy is when the centers used to be over 7 feet tall. He was 7'1", Nick Vanos, from 1986 to 1987, just 1 year. He did play 68 games, so he is eligible. From Santa Clara, drafted 32nd overall in the 1985 NBA draft. Died in a... Here we go. Let's go, everyone. Sweet dreams. Ready? Died in a plane crash that killed all 154 on board and 2 people on the ground. That is miserable. Are we in the pod?
Matthew got Nick Vanos. Yes,
154 people.
And 2 on the ground.
What a tragedy.
Yeah, he was coming back to Phoenix. He had gone out to Detroit for, I believe, a wedding, and then was flying back to Phoenix in August of, it was actually August 16th, 1987, I want to say. So it was a day. Yesterday was the anniversary. Yeah, unfortunate. No one wore the jersey again for over 11 years. And then Uncle Cliff Robinson, 6'10" from UConn, played 292 games as a member of the Phoenix Suns in jersey number 30, 16.4 points, 4.6 rebounds, 2.6 assists. Signed as a free agent after 8 successful seasons in Portland, including a trip to the 1992 NBA Finals. Scored 50 points against the Nuggets on January 16th, 2000. He was an all-star, but that was when he was with the Blazers. He was a 1993 Sixth Man of the Year with the Blazers, and eventually was traded to the Pistons for Judd Bushler and John Wallace. And then he went on with that Pistons team the next year to become an all-defensive second-team member. Take that, Suns.
Next guy is, I'm going to call him Magic Lamp, but I think it's Masia Lampe.
Magic Lamp.
We'll call him Magic Lamp from 2004, 2005 with a little throat clearing right there. 37 games, so he's not eligible. But he came to Phoenix after being drafted by the Knicks as a part of the Penny Hardaway and Stephon Marbury to New York City deal. Yeah, Stephon Marbury. Right. Miss you, buddy. He's not passed. I don't think he passed away yet, so we'll find out. Was at the time the youngest player to play for the Phoenix Suns when he debuted at 18 years old. And he was traded with Casey Jacobson and Jackson Verman to the Hornets for Jim Jackson. It's funny because when I read Casey Jacobson and Jackson, I was thinking Jim Jackson and then Jim Jackson. Yeah, okay.
There you go.
That worked out. That was weird.
and he played for the Suns those 37 games in that 04-05 run. So he was around. I don't know if anyone remembers Magic Lamp. I certainly don't.
I don't.
The next guy to wear it didn't wear it until 2011. That was Earl Barron, another center, 7 feet tall out of Memphis, only 28 games played, so he doesn't even qualify for our start bench trade game. But he played with Phoenix twice. He did so in 2010 and 11, and then again back in 14 and 15. He coached as an assistant for the Northern Arizona Suns in 2017-18, and he's currently a video player assistant with the Pacers. Earl Barron, ladies and gentlemen. Earl Barron.
Video player. John Lauer in 2016 was the next one to wear it the next year, obviously. From Wisconsin, he was traded from Memphis to Phoenix for Andrew Harrison. 27 starts with Phoenix and had 9 double-doubles, almost made the record. Married to Keegan Billick, former Baltimore Ravens head coach Brian Billick's daughter.
I'm like, finish that. Formerly Brian Billick. So Brian Billick became Keegan Billick and then married John Lauer. Troy Daniels, 2018 and 19 from VCU, shooting guard, 6'4", ended up playing 130 games for the Suns, 7.9 points. He was traded to the Suns from the Grizzlies for 2 second-round picks. He had 6 3-pointers in the second quarter of a 142-116 loss to the Rockets, tying the record for the most threes in a quarter with Gerald Green and Shannon Brown. He holds the record for most consecutive games coming off the bench and hitting the three-pointer. He did so by hitting it in his 27th consecutive game, which passed the record by Wesley Person, which is really interesting because that wasn't really the three-point era, but that's what Wesley did. He came in, he hit a three, and he'd go sit his ass down. Last played with the 2019/20 Nuggets. Troy Daniels. I remember him. He was a fireballer.
Yeah, he was. There was always kind of an upside to him when he came off. This guy thought there was an upside, maybe. Damian Jones,
We wanted an
2021.
upside for this guy so
Yeah,
bad.
we kind of did. Yeah, there was something there, maybe. But he was drafted 30th overall in 2016 by the Warriors. Won 2 rings with the Warriors. Played only 32 playoff minutes during both of those championship runs. Came to Phoenix as a free agent. Averaged 1.6 points in 1.4 fouls in 6.7 minutes. 8.4 points, 7.3 fouls per 36. If you're interested in those stats. Waived after 14 games. Currently on the Jazz. That is Damian Jones.
And then the last person to ever wear number 30 for the Suns was Terrence Bass in 2022 out of Detroit Mercy. Signed 2 10-day contracts, scored 50 points with the Wisconsin Herd, which is the Bucks G League team. Currently plays in Puerto Rico. Played a total of 2 games and scored a total of 6 points with the Suns. So there you go. That's everybody who's worn jersey number 30 for the Phoenix Suns. Now, again, you can only select a few to start, bench, and trade. There are only 6 players of the 10 who qualify. Those 6 players are, Matthew, they are
Fred Saunders,
Ron Lee, Nick Vanos, Cliff Robinson, John Lure, and Troy Daniels. So I think I went first last time, so I'll let you go first this time, Matthew.
Okay.
Who would you start?
I'm going to go with, I think, wasn't his nickname the Headband or something? Clifford Robinson.
Uncle Cliff, man.
Yeah, when I first got into the Suns, he was probably the first guy I really, really, truly remember. And I remember actually being at school, I think, excuse me, a lot of that, got to get it out before the season starts. There you go. Sorry, guys. It's really annoying. He was on the Blazers, and he was pretty much known as a Blazer. I remember going to school, and everyone always had his Blazer jersey, which was fucking just phenomenal. Those ones always look good and still do, obviously, the same exact things. But he was the guy that always stuck out to me, and his headband and everything. Obviously, when he's like your best player on the team, you're not going to really win much. But I did enjoy him when he was here in Phoenix.
Well, I think when he was here in Phoenix, it was a challenging time for the Suns because that's when you had Penny Hardaway and you had Jason Kidd and you had Clifford Robinson. Like on paper, it was such a great team. And if you look at everybody who wore jersey number 30, he averaged the most points at 16.4. So I agree with you. He is the start here. He was a great player with the Phoenix Suns. Unfortunately, passed away early at the age of 53. But Uncle Cliff was such an amazing player. I remember I hated him growing up. Oh, yeah, he died a while ago.
I didn't know he died.
Yeah. Wow. But I didn't like him growing up. When he played for the Blazers were the opposition. And he was one of those guys who played with tenacity, played with heart on both sides of the ball. And at 6'10", he was ahead of his time because he used to shoot the 3 ball. You look at his career high 50 points that he had against the Nuggets. He went 17 of 26 from the field, and he was 3 of 5 from deep. That's back in 2000. So he was a little ahead of his time, especially as a 6'10" guy. So I completely agree with you that he is the guy to start. The guy that I would bench out of all this, I would take Ron Lee. Again, point guard out of Oregon, 207 games with the Suns. They don't have the start-sit statistics back then, but based on everything that I read in the research, he's somebody who did come off the bench a lot. He was a bench player, and he'd come in, and his reputation was a tenacious defender. Again, led the league in steals in 1978, and I don't know how much of that came from starting and how much I would assume there was a lot of starting going on there, but I think a lot of it came coming off the bench as well because he was a tenacious player. And there's a reason that the Suns were able to get Truck Robinson, and Ron Lee was one of those. And by the way, Ron Lee, amazing afro.
Love
Great
the afro.
Afro.
I've always wanted one. I've always wanted dreads. Now I'm bald. I'm going to go Ron Jeremy too as well. I think
Ron Jeremy.
Two as well. Remember I used to say that a lot?
You used to say two. I remember
you as well. Yeah. And I was thinking about that the other night too. I'm like, dude, you don't say that ever anymore. And I just said it.
It's back. You got the yips, and you called Ron Lee Ron Jeremy. Did you mean to do that on purpose?
Oh yeah, I think so. Anyways, that's probably why I did that because I was trying to get out of there really quick.
You're trying to tell a quick joke
funny at all.
Too as well.
Yeah, no,
that's funny too as well.
Yeah,
there's a fucking mute button.
I'm gonna go Ron Lee. I'm pretty sure you're gonna trade Troy Daniels. Is that where
I
we're
don't
going?
know. Are you going to trade Joy Daniels?
I'm gonna trade Troy Daniels, I think, because
Okay.
there was upside there for sure, and he always stuck out a lot. He was a very quiet player, right? He would come out, hit his threes, go sit on the bench, not say a word, but you were like, oh, there's something there, right? So I think you can really trade for a guy like that, just to have like you said, a fireball coming off the bench. So he has some value there.
I'll tell you who I want to trade is that Magic Lampy guy, but he only played 37 games. Because according to So Says Jay in the chat, he says, Lampy's son used to bully my kid at school. So fuck Lampy and fuck his kid. But he only played 37 games, so I can't trade his ass. So yeah, I'm going to go with Troy Daniels.
Okay. I feel like we kind of aligned this one and the last one, right?
The last two we've aligned. The first one we didn't. The last two we've aligned. I think that the jersey numbers that we've chosen this summer, 10, 20, 30, and we might do 40. I'm not sure yet. You know, obviously we have our 500 show next Thursday. So I don't know if that's the shtick that we're going to do for the 500. We're going to do jersey number 500.
I think we just sit around and bullshit and just talk shit. And that's it.
That's literally the show. Like, welcome. So what do you guys want to talk about? What are Matthew and John going to talk about for show 500?
It's going to be hard to be serious and actually have a good conversation with
I don't know if anybody's even going on. No one knows yet.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, I haven't said anything. Shh.
My bad. Almost spoiled it.
Hold on.
Terrible. Take a lap.
I do that a lot.
Take a lap, Matt.
It's not like I can keep a secret, but I'll just spoil things. If like someone's like, oh, I didn't tell him yet. I'm like, oh, damn it. Sorry. I already told him. I didn't know it was a secret.
Oh, me too as well. Did you get it? Oh, man. All right. Well, there you go. Start, bench, and trade. We agree. You start Cliff Robinson. You sit Ron Lee. You trade Troy Daniels.
Childhood trauma.
I just did adult trauma. Like my dog's going crazy when it's thundering, and DirecTV sucks to cancel. But is there any childhood trauma topics we should hit?
Ooh, Jams, there's anything out there? No, there's 33 people watching. Let's see. Trauma.
Somebody had asked first kiss on Twitter.
First kiss?
Yeah, but I think we did that one.
Well, I don't think I did first kiss.
I don't know if I remember my first kiss.
I remember I was super young, but it was stupid. It wasn't even anything.
Yeah, it's not like I was like making out, like I pecked some girl in like the first grade or something.
No, the first time like I really kissed a girl. Oh, chances, you want to know the age? Hold on.
And he liked it. He's like, last week I was hanging out with my lady friend, and she finally allowed me to French kiss.
Jeez, how old was I? I had a weird teenage years, dude. Oh, all right. I'm just gonna say it. No, I'm not gonna say it.
What, 19?
No, I was 18.
25?
I was 18.
What's wrong with 18?
Well, I mean, to first kiss somebody, like I had a girlfriend in junior high, we never kissed. I was so nervous. Oh my God. I remember the first time we were gonna kiss. Oh wait, I think we did kiss, but it wasn't like making out. So I think, I was younger, but I was so fucking, I remember like my hands were so sweaty. And oh my God, we were like walking to the back of the school. I knew we were gonna make out, and then we just didn't because I was just like shaking the whole time.
I remember the first time I saw boobs.
First time you saw boobs?
Yeah.
Like in real life or on TV?
No, like in real life.
Oh.
It was you know that famous picture of Michael Jordan hitting that shot over Byron Russell? You know, like his last shot as a Chicago Bull that night.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, I saw that game and I went home and saw my girlfriend's boobs for the first time. I was like, wow,
oh, wow. Okay.
What a day.
What a day,
What
dude.
a day.
Nothing topped that since, has it?
No, not really. You know, like
No?
I the day I got married, I also won my fantasy football championship. That's like, that's number one.
That's
like,
number
that's
one.
Second,
and then that's number two.
No,
I still haven't.
It's like number 45. I still haven't.
Yeah. I see my own. That's good enough for me.
I don't even see my own. When I get out of the shower, I don't look in the mirror. I'm like, dude, stop.
Cover yourself up.
I wear the towel up like this. All right, we're just being dumb. That's it, Jamsters. I think we're done here. We'll go ahead and we'll skedaddle. Again, we'll be coming to you live on Monday, 9 p.m. Arizona time. Might have a special guest, might not sure. Working on some things. But if not, it'll be just me and Matthew talking about how much we love DeAndre Ayton, which is got to be a change of pace for some people out there. Some people are like losing their fucking minds. But that being said, we do appreciate you taking a little time out of your day to hang out with us here on the Suns Jam Session podcast. Make sure you subscribe, rate, review, hit that thumbs up button if you happen to be on the YouTube. Make sure you subscribe, put on that bell notification, which reminds you anytime that we go live. You can read my writing at brightsideofthesun.com and follow me on Twitter at Darth Voida. You can read his writing occasionally on Bright Side of the Sun, and you can follow him on Twitter.
Wow.
And on that note, Matthew, anything else to say to the Jamsters out there?
Go home and love your boobies.